When you got married, you cursed yourself. If your wife ever fell for someone else, you would slowly forget everything about her. When he chose to find magical weapons for his junior brother, you forgot that you once fought off fierce beasts together. When he chose to leave the sect to care for his sick junior brother, you forgot that you once drank and talked through the night. When he stood up for his junior brother and scolded you, she became a complete stranger in your eyes. You watched your body and soul shatter and fade away bit by bit. In the end, you stole one last glance at your wife. His expression was blank, as if he couldn't believe it. But with just one light palm strike, you were utterly destroyed, body and spirit. He lunged forward trying to grasp your hand, but your hand, stained with blood, just before touching his, turned to ash and blew away. In truth, from the moment you first met, you knew that one day he would kill you. Linger was your wife. You were once a legendary immortal couple known throughout the sect. You met when you were both unknown, supporting each other through the years, which led to your success today. You never believed that a stranger could so easily overturn centuries of love, until Lingshan appeared. He was completely different from you. You were cold and reserved. She is cheerful and humorous. Unless absolutely necessary, you prefer not to bother others. When faced with challenges, you weigh the pros and cons first. But Lingshan's personality is carefree and flirtatious. Scheming and cutting corners are his go-to tactics. Taking advantage of others has become his core survival strategy. Honestly, you despise her behavior 1,000 times over. Yet it's this very man you look down on, who slowly won over your wife step by step. It makes you feel as sick as if you'd swallowed a fly. Though in the past you disliked Lingshan's personality, you never held any real grudges against him. The path of cultivation is fraught with hardship. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, so having different ways to survive is perfectly natural. Because of this, you didn't notice how close Linger and Lingshan were becoming. When they deliberately avoided you, they were already inseparable. Your eldest daughter, Wangsin, who had returned from a long journey, subtly warned you, saying that your father and mother always seemed very busy. You nodded, and poured him a cup of tea. You reminded her to change her clothes before going to see Linger, so she wouldn't worry Linger with dusty clothes. Wangsin frowned, her tone tinged with resentment as she said, "Back when the demon soldiers raided the human world, I'd rather stay with Mother to guard the northern border. The battles, big and small, have been going on for years. Yet I've never seen Mother this overwhelmed before. How is it that in these peaceful, safe times, it's even harder for me to see him?" Hearing this, you were about to tease him. Like a child who never grows up, you realize your memories of Linger guarding the northern frontier have become blurry. You can't recall any of the details at all. Thinking about Linger's recent whereabouts, a chill runs down your spine. When you married, you took a potion from the Valley of Forgetting, mixed with Linger's blood. If she fell out of love with you, you would slowly forget everything about her. Immortals have sharp senses, so the memories you lose must be the effect of the Valley of Forgetting. It's laughable that you once thought you'd never need that potion in this lifetime. Linger didn't return until 3 days later. He came back in a great mood. Not because of his daughter returning from a long journey, but because of his junior disciple. Lingshan finally acquired a handy magical weapon. You ask what he's been up to lately. She smiles and grabs your hand, changing the subject. The sect has been busy. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Are you upset with me? His tone is soft and sweet. The flattering words flow effortlessly. Whether intentional or not, you can't tell. He dodged your question. You let him hold your waist and kept asking, "What have you been busy with lately?" His movement faltered for a moment, but he quickly returned to normal, saying, "It's just some trivial matters from the sect. Nothing interesting." Seeing he was still avoiding the topic, you gently pushed him away, about to bring up her and Lingshan, but he interrupted you with a frown. "I was just helping him get a magic artifact. Who told you otherwise?" This was your first time asking about him and Lingshan, but this is how it sounded from his mouth. Even if the blame was pinned on you, he still looked guilty, and realized his attitude was off. Quickly trying to explain, Lingshan is innately weak, and her cultivation hardly advances. Without a powerful artifact by her side, she's vulnerable in difficult situations. As her senior sister, it's only right to help her out. You stepped back, looked into her eyes and said, "If she's innately weak, why not just live an ordinary life? You are her senior sister. But there are thousands of people on this mountain who call you senior sister. How many have you truly helped with such care?" Hearing this, Linger's expression froze. She couldn't bring herself to say a word. After all these years together, you know Linger's character well. He's not someone driven only by love and desire. So even though Forgetting Valley has shown he's interested in someone else, you're still willing to give him another chance. You have a cold temperament, so it's only natural he'd be temporarily drawn to the lively and humorous Lingshan. Immersed in it all, he may not have realized his feelings for Lingshan have changed. You thought that once you woke him up to this, he wouldn't keep making the same mistake. Sure enough, after you asked him that question, he realized he'd gotten too close to Lingshan. While nothing has truly begun yet, separating her and Lingshan for a while would be better for both of you. So you arranged to go out with her to see the flowers, even planning to bring your daughter Wangsin along. You and Linger used to live by the Jiruo River for many years. Wangsin was born there, but Linger didn't go with you to Jiruo River. Instead, he went to the stone chamber in the back mountain for seclusion. When he changed his mind and decided to go into seclusion, eyes filled with guilt. You didn't blame him. You still believe he has responsibility and a sense of duty, admitting mistakes and correcting them. But later you realized, as long as you play the victim well enough, responsibility and accountability don't matter at all. Lingshan is sick. They say it's a serious illness. The crane he raised came to deliver a message to Linger. So panicked its tone was all over the place. After all, a life is at stake. You couldn't just stand by and do nothing. You gave him the elixir and wrote a post, asking the crane to find a divine healer. Master Lu came to treat him, but never saw Linger. Lingshan looked disappointed. When you were about to leave, she tugged your sleeve and asked, "Why hasn't senior sister Linger come to see me?" That question made you feel sick. You immediately regretted it and gave her the elixir to prolong her life, leaving her with just one sentence. After that, you went into seclusion and turned around to leave at once, too lazy to spare another glance at this hypocritical man. After all, you worried about getting an eye infection yourself. When Wenshin heard about Lingshan's serious illness and learned why Linger suddenly went into seclusion, she insisted that you go with him to Jiaruo and Kanhua no matter what. You knew she just didn't want you to be upset over Lingshan. It comforted you deeply. She truly is your own daughter, thoughtful and caring. The wildflowers by the Jiaruo River really bloom beautifully, following the flow all the way upstream. You rarely bring her up when talking to Wenshin about the years you lived in seclusion with Linger. Back then, you had been practicing cultivation together for 100 years. Both of you were diligent and dedicated learners. Your progress naturally skyrocketed. Your skills improved steadily, with your beloved by your side. That period was a happy time for both you and Linger. You both broke through another bottleneck. Linger was as happy as a fool. She grabbed you and ran toward the river, saying if she didn't calm down soon, her joy would drive her mad. You felt happy for her too, letting her hold your hand tightly, dragging you into the water. He said this was a good place. When we get old, or tired of the outside world, we'll come back here, and live here until we die. When she said that, her eyes curved into a smile, filled with endless love. It made your heart race. To celebrate, he went beyond the mountains to buy wine, and drank through the night with you under the eaves. During that time, you talked about many things. About the past, whether hard or satisfying days. About the achievements you hope to reach in the future. About the ordinary married life you plan to share together. The night passed in the blink of an eye. At dawn, neither of you felt quite ready to stop talking, but you were both a little drunk. He took your hand, rubbing it gently, and said, "We still have a lot of time together. For now, let's get some rest." You fell into a deep sleep in the morning dew, but afterward there was never another chance. To continue the conversation left unfinished that night. You stayed in the riverside cabin for a few days. Suddenly, Wangson went out to buy some wine from beyond the hills. He pulled you along to join him in drinking. You found it a bit strange. Why would he suddenly have the idea to drink like this? While drinking, Wangson mentioned the plague long ago in the Eastern Sea. About that little daughter who was like a mischievous monkey. Just thinking about her gave you a headache. You and Linger were obviously steady and sensible. Wangson had also been responsible since childhood. Only Wenying had been a handful many times since she was little. You often felt like you just wanted to toss her out. Seeing your troubled face, Wangson burst out laughing. "Did you ever expect to have such a troublesome little daughter?" You replied casually, "I did expect it, just didn't realize she'd be such a handful." Wangson took a sip of his wine. "Keep listening to what you have to say." You were about to talk about Wenyin's birth. But when you started, those memories were already hazy. You furrowed your brow, trying to recall Wenshin's childhood next. Yet those memories were just as blurry. This made your back instinctively straighten. You looked around at the surroundings. A place that should have been familiar, but now felt like seeing it for the first time. It seemed like it was right here. "Linger, you said if it were possible, we'd have 2 children. A daughter like you and a son like me." Your mind went blank, as if dazed for a moment. When you came back to yourself, Linger's soft, distant voice was already gone from your memory. It felt like she had once said something here, but you couldn't recall. The power of the Valley of Forgotten Feelings had begun again. After a moment of hesitation, you reached out and touched the wine in your cup. It shifted smoothly into a small mirror. On the other side, Linger, who should have been in seclusion, was holding tightly onto Ling Shan. Ling Shan's nostrils twitched. His face showed deep hurt. Linger whispered softly, comforting him. "With me here, junior brother, don't be afraid." Watching the woman holding Ling Shan, a sharp pang of bitterness welled up in your heart. It felt like something that belonged to you had betrayed you. Wangson also spotted the water mirror. She waved her robe, trying to break the water mirror, but you blocked her. You brushed away Wangson's hand that was stopping you from looking, asking with some puzzlement, "Who is this woman?" Watching the woman holding Ling Shan, a sharp pang of bitterness welled up in your heart. It felt like something that belonged to you had betrayed you. Wangson also spotted the water mirror. She waved her robe, trying to break the water mirror, but you blocked her. You brushed away Wangson's hand that was stopping you from looking, asking with some puzzlement, "Who is this woman?" Wangson was stunned for a moment, surprised that you would ask such a question, but her hand still covered the view, not letting you look closely. You felt a growing sense of doubt in your heart, thinking you probably knew that woman. Yet now she only seemed familiar to you. Wangson's reaction confirmed your suspicion. Then Wangson herself asked in confusion, "Father, you don't know who that person is?" You glanced again at the water mirror. In just a moment, Ling Shan was already lying in the woman's arms. She didn't look sick, more like she was in heat. The scene was unpleasant to witness. You looked away and shook your head. You just felt that woman was very familiar, yet suddenly you couldn't recall who she was. After hearing your answer, Wangson's reaction was intense, and she no longer blocked your view. "Look at those men and women embracing, grabbing your hand," your voice trembling with nervousness. "That's my mother." That answer shocked you. You seemed to hear something unbearable, quickly pulling your hand away from Wangson's. Then you asked with some confusion, "Who did you say he is?" Wangson hurriedly explained, "She is Elder Linger, your wife, and also my mother." You forced a smile and waved your hand, unwilling to believe it. You thought Wangson must be drunk. How could your wife be so close to Ling Shan? But soon your smile faded. Suddenly you realized you only knew you were close to your wife, yet it was as if you didn't even remember what she looked like. You couldn't help but look again at the water mirror on the table. The water mirror showed Ling Shan slowly moving closer to the woman's lips, gently touching her cheek. The woman didn't resist, giving silent consent. Ling Shan grew bolder, wrapping his hands around the woman's neck, about to bite her lips. Seeing this, your sense of familiarity with the woman faded by more than half. At the same time, you began to doubt your own feelings when looking at her. You saw with your own eyes your wife cozying up to another man. It made you feel utterly nauseated. You immediately wrote a divorce letter. Wangson hesitated several times, almost speaking, as if trying to calm you down. But he also felt ashamed for his mother, too embarrassed to say a single word. You tried to catch a wandering spirit around you, to send the divorce letter back. After witnessing such a filthy scene, you never wanted to see that woman again. But Wangson stopped you and said, "Let her go instead." You didn't want your daughter to meet that person. You thought it best to keep her away from such people. After all, it would be bad if she learned bad habits. But Wangson snatched the divorce letter from your hand, wearing a face full of resentment. Without a word, she just left. You called after her a few times, but she didn't come back, so you let her go. After Wangson left, you drank alone in the small room watching the flowers. Drunk, you collapsed to the ground, falling into a deep sleep with no dignity left. You don't know how long you slept? You had a dream. In the dream, there was a woman. She was kind to you. Whenever she had something good, she always shared it with you first. Alone and powerless, you clung to a reckless courage. You'll never be alone. He has a gentle temper, unlike many cultivators, who only care about their own progress. He brings you beautiful flowers, and delicious traditional snacks from the imperial court. Being with him, you feel truly happy. The scenes in the dream keep changing, but finally settle on a bright red bridal veil, in front of the ancestor's statue. You're still wearing your usual clothes, but he has the matching red veil over his head. A woman supports you as you kneel and bow 3 times. Her gentle vow softly echoes in your ear. "Disciple Linger, I will never betray my husband in this life. If I do, my soul will be shattered, and I will never be reborn." Though it's a sincere and moving promise, you find it hard to keep listening. You want to lift the veil and leave immediately. The woman's oath repeats over and over, driving you frustrated and restless. Yet you can't break free no matter how you try. Just as you're about to lose your temper, the red veil is pulled aside. You see Linger hesitatingly reflected in a pool of water. Ling Shan is clinging to his neck. You suddenly jolt awake from the dream, still unable to understand 2 things. Why did you swallow the forgetting Bally back then? If you had a premonition, then why did you still marry him? Wangson, who went to deliver the divorce letter, never came back. You grew anxious. After all, you wanted to end the marriage title completely. You didn't want to carry that label for even a single day longer. Just thinking about it felt disgusting. But as soon as you returned to the foot of the mountain, you sensed a familiar presence. It was Chunhua, the little kitten Wenying found and raised for you all that time. Wenying couldn't sit still. He used to feed your pills to the cat sometimes. The cat didn't die from the medicine's power. Instead, it gained intelligence and became very affectionate. Chunhua stayed by your side the longest. Every time you came back from a trip, he would run over to greet you. After being away so long, you missed the softness of Chunhua's fur. You were just figuring out how long it would take him to reach you, when suddenly a man's sharp scream came from nearby. You thought someone was hurt and hurried over to check. When you got closer, you saw Chunhua facing off with a man. The man looked frightened by Chunhua, clearly panicked. The cat you raised had confronted a human. Naturally, as the owner, you had to respond. But before you could step forward to apologize, the man raised his sword and swung it toward Chunhua. But Chunhua was no ordinary cat, she had a spirit. She barely dodged the blade before it struck. Still, half of her tail was sliced off by the sharp sword. Seeing his first strike miss, the man raised his sword again, ready to strike a second time. You quickly commanded the whip in your sleeve, pulling Chunhua into your arms. The tailless Chunhua let out a sharp, pained cry. It pierced your heart with sympathy. Witnessing such viciousness, a fire ignited inside you. Just as you were about to speak, you caught a clear look at the man's face. It was one of the figures from the night at the water mirror. Lingsheng.